and I had some concerns, and I thought, what better time to address them than right now? So here we go. Yo. Hey, check me out. Hey. Let's have a conversation about the world and the way things are now. Come chop it up with me. But just take it. About terrorism and World War III. Yo. The who, what,
What's
when,
up, Tea
where.
Timers, and welcome to the Tea for Real with your boy Marcus J. Cook. Now, this is a show where each and every episode I invite two people to come on and have social commentary with me as we talk about everything that's happening right now in the world. We're discussing everything from politics to religion to celebrity gossip to music, movies, and more. And of course, we got a little tea thrown in just for good measure. We have a great show lined up for you today. I have two amazing women. The first, she is a comedian, an inspirational speaker, and an authoress of such books as The Husband Diaries and Are You There, God? My Lemonade Has No Sugar. She is the creator and director of Personified Greatness. Welcome to the show, Stephanie Bird, a.k.a. Lady B. Lady B, how you doing?
Hello. Hey, guys. How are y'all doing?
Now, with a degree in criminal justice, she is a writer for Urban Intellectuals, a social and political commentator for such shows as On Air with Katie Bryant, Real Talk with Jalal, and Bridging the Gap. Welcome to the Tea for Real, Erica Tolbert. Erica, welcome.
Hello, everyone.
Ladies, I am so happy to have you here. Thank you so much for coming on the show and being open to express your opinions and your views. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.
So before we get thank you. Before we get started, Stephanie, Lady B, what you want me to call you?
Stephanie is good today. Stephanie is good today. I would gladly be Stephanie.
Awesome. So Stephanie, you got a lot really going on. Can you tell us about some of your businesses? Tell us about your books. What's happening with all of your projects?
Okay, well, my first baby we'll talk about is Personified Greatness. I'm just so super excited. It's a profit. It's 501c3, which means that all of your donations are completely tax deductible. But what we do is, well, I'll say this. I'll start with this. I feel that what sets our program apart from other mentoring programs, and I'll give the disclaimer of please don't hear what I did not say, is that I don't just allow the kids to listen to me talk for an hour and then come get some juice and cookies at the end. We don't do that. What we do is we provide measurable outcomes of success. I don't teach you to be great. I don't teach you to achieve greatness. What I do teach you is to get rid of all the weeds that are preventing you from personifying greatness, because everything you need is already inside of you. There's no 12-step program. There's nothing. All I need you to do is understand that everything you need is inside of you. So if you can't see that, then we need to get those weeds out of there. And we've got some proven dynamic tactics to do that. These are measurable outcomes. They are, I don't want to use the word guarantee because that sets you up for lawsuits, but literally it works. It works without question, for sure.
Awesome. And the books, when are they coming out? And what about the books? When are your books coming out?
Oh, yes. Okay, so the Are You There, God? My Lemonade Has No Sugar is actually a memoir, and I won't lie, I kind of was, I don't want to use the word lackadaisical concerning it, but when you're giving so much of yourself, it's nerve-wracking, right? To understand that people will actually be able to read my whole life story, dear Jesus, like it will be in the hands of millions of people, and that was not easy to deal with mentally. I'll honestly say that. Writing some chapters of the book kind of took me to some dark places. We kind of had to get some therapy. So, and then add all that to COVID, and you got to push back release date. So in between time, God definitely downloaded these tips. I just really had The Husband Diary. Hold on one second. I'm so sorry. You're going to have to edit this. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. Guys, you know that we are doing this at home. due to social distancing for coronavirus. So
Five
we're gonna have
kids.
these things
Okay.
come up.
Close my door.
Yes,
5 of them
yes,
jokers.
it definitely happens. I get it.
And I can't wait to touch on this later because it's gonna tie into one of my topics too. So I can't wait to touch on it.
Okay, but yeah, so real quick, the husband diaries. So my husband and I, we've been married for almost 10 years, right? We've been together 15, and I'm still young. He's still extremely young. But when I tell y'all, I am convinced that I have a heart for marriage. I believe that part of my calling is to just help other people in relationships. And when I tell y'all, like, just some amazing stuff has been downloaded, and ta-da, we've got the husband diaries, and that is August 2020. We are so super excited about that.
That's so awesome, Erica.
Erica,
Oh my
Yes,
goodness.
sir.
I was reading your bio, and let me just tell you, like, I was so impressed at everything you've accomplished, everything you have done. Congratulations on that. One of the things that stuck out to me was you are registering over 100 people to vote. Can you tell us something about that experience and tell our audience, those who may not be registered or ready to vote, on how to get that process even started?
First, I'm gonna start with the latter. The best way is to, if your state allows, to go online, to register online, especially since we are in a social distancing phase and they're cutting back and going back to different phases. The best way would be to go online, find your state DMV, your state secretary website. That would be the best way if your state allows. Even Facebook, believe it or not, when you log into Facebook, most times the first thing that pops up is the register to vote. They're either going to have the COVID cases or register to vote. So you could even, Facebook is promoting and pushing ways to register to vote. You could go wait in line at the DMV. I know my DMV personally has this hour-long waits due to us being one of those states that's barely opening up still. You can go to your local DMV. You can go to your local chapters of NAACP. Different organizations are allowing you to register to vote. Different affiliations with PAC and all of them, whether you're Democrat or Republican, most of these entities and organizations will register you no matter what your political affiliation is. I registered teens. I was the Democratic president of the Democratic Party at my community college. And I got with some of the teenagers there, and we set a date twice, and we registered the kids on campus to vote, which was wasn't a hard thing to do, only because that's when the forever president was running for office. So when you're inspiring people and giving people something to believe for, that definitely makes your job easy when they have candidates that they can look at and say, okay, I can see this person leading me. But sometimes it is a bit difficult when people don't believe in who they're voting for. So I definitely had it easy because I was giving them something to vote for.
That's right. That's right. So I want to just hop right into, we got the introductions out of the way. So I want to talk about the lady that is on everybody's lips, Miss Rona, baby. So this week, Florida has reported 9,585 new cases. The state total stands at 132,545 cases of coronavirus today. Now, Alabama has 38,442 new cases, with a mandatory mask order for Montgomery, Birmingham, and Selma, with Huntsville quickly approaching. However, many people, including President Trump, are refusing to wear a mask. Erica, what kind of message is this sending to the American citizens if even the president won't even wear a mask in the time of the pandemic?
It seems, to me personally, when I look at that, it's a lack of education.
Oh, wow.
When you have a leader that wants to debunk science, and I don't care what your religion affiliation is, I don't care what you believe as far as blue state, red state, Democrat, Republican, science is what it is, and it's going to stand. And you can't debunk science with too much of anything, because that's what it is.
That's right.
When you have a leader that doesn't want to abide by certain guidelines, it's like the parenting thing. You do as I say, not as I do. But we know it in parenting it doesn't even work. Mama, I see you smoking weed. Why I can't smoke weed, right? Well, you ain't wearing, the president ain't wearing a mask. Why I can't wear a mask? It's sending the wrong signal. It's making people buck up against their government. It's making them buck up against their health administrations who's saying, hey, no, we're not saying it's 100%. Nothing is a condom ain't 100%, right? It's
right.
Not 100%. But with that being said, what they are saying is we could flatten the curve. And I don't even think, I'm so to the point where I don't even think people know what flatten the curve actually means at this point. Because if they did, there's nothing wrong with simply when you're going outside, not just for you, put a mask on. It's not always about you. And I have to tell people that in public when they don't want to when I'm in a grocery store, they get too close. I'll tell them, I don't know if I have coronavirus. I might have it. I don't want you to get too close because I'm trying to protect you. Now, do I believe that? No, I don't know what you got. Don't get too close to me. But I make it about them so that they can be like, you know what? You're so nice and caring. Yes, I'm nice and caring about me.
Right. That's right.
It's sending a message of disrespect to our health officials and to citizens caring and loving one another.
That's right. Stephanie, what do you think? President Trump refuses to wear a mask, and so does many Americans as they go out and do their shopping, their business, whatever they have to tend to. They're out here without a mask. Well, some of them are, and they're using President Trump as he's not wearing a mask. I shouldn't either.
I think for me, it kind of speaks to the elitism that this country has, for sure, because the message that you're actually sending is that COVID is for poor people. And I have the resources and everything on board to make sure that me and the people connected to me are straight. So that doesn't apply to me. It only applies to you, which further signifies that you're not an efficient leader. And for me, and it has nothing to do with everybody thinks it has something to do with. It is because you are not allowed to have expectations that exceed what you're willing to contribute to. So if you yourself are not even willing to sign off on what you've signed off on by emulating, a great leader is not walking in front of you, they're walking with you. And that's not just something that I've noticed that he does. He just kind of throws out instruction and is like, oh, it's for you, it doesn't apply to me. And that just lets me know that there's still a lot of elitism here in our country.
I agree. Well, now, so essential workers, people in healthcare, people in retail, people in food service, they are now required as part of their job to wear masks, and to wear masks the entire shift. Now, quite often they are servicing people who, like you said, Stephanie, they are of a certain group, and they're refusing to wear. They're refusing to cover themselves. How is this fair? How is it a fair practice, Stephanie, to the essential workers who are risking their lives daily, servicing people who are refusing to even protect themselves and others?
Again, it just speaks to that, it doesn't apply to me. For example, here in Alabama, I've noticed that if I'm in Metro Birmingham, I can honestly say about 90% of the people that I encounter will have on a mask of some sort. The stores here, they do kind of, mandate it, not necessarily to the point that it becomes confrontational, but they're like, hey, sign on the door, face covering required. When you go to what's considered, and I find that it's ironic that this part of town is actually called Over the Mountain, because it further signifies that they've separated themselves from the general metro population. But once you go over that mountain, maybe 2.5% of the people that you see will have on those masks. And they're the people that automatically, that you would think have compromised immune systems and things like that. And it's just like, if I could just be completely transparent, I feel like once a bunch of black people started dying from COVID, it wasn't important anymore. And it was just like, poof, disappeared. Mm-hmm. And that's where we are. Always the black people got it. We straight.
Erica, I see you agreeing. What are your thoughts? How is this a fair practice to essential workers?
I agree wholeheartedly with what she said. When it was an American disease, it was, we got to stop it. We got to do this. NFL, the NCAA, people lost money behind trying not to get it. Now it doesn't matter. But it's not fair to the essential personnel simply because, for me, we are a selfish nation. Nothing says I'm selfish more than I'm going to continue about my day, not protecting myself, not covering myself, and I'm going to risk other people by going out and possibly having this disease. On top of all of that, I don't care about the doctors. I don't care about the nurses, so that they're short-staffed, overworked, and I'm going to continue not protecting myself, possibly getting this disease, and then I'm going to put extra pressure on them to try to heal me from a disease we know nothing about. And I think that's the biggest piece that everybody keeps overlooking. We're so in the beginning stages of COVID-19 that we will never, we won't know the after effects of this disease until years down the road.
Wow.
Years. Right.
We will not know the fact that it's taking years off of people's lives. Years. We don't know the extent of that until it's actually over and under control. And since it's not under control, we simply don't know. Now, I live in the state of Illinois. It's mandated by our governor. It's mandated that you have to wear a mask in public. I was in Walmart the other day, and I'm walking around, and I hate Walmart just like everybody for what it's worth. But they have certain things that I can only find in Walmart. I'm walking around in Walmart, and 80% of the people that didn't have on a mask in Walmart were white people. Everybody black had on a mask. And it goes to that elitism that you're speaking about, Stephanie, Lady B, because black people, we used to follow the laws. We used to follow in direction. That is something that we're used to doing.
Because we know what happens when we don't follow the laws.
When we don't follow the laws. So with that being said, and I'm walking around, and now when I'm in Target, they have on their mask, and that's just what it is. White, black, and other have on masks. But I'm in Walmart, and I'm just walking around, and I'm like, the bulk of the people I'm seeing without a mask are white people.
And if I could say this, Catwell, what gets me about the essential workers that frustrates me so much is that, okay, so when we immediately think of essential workers, we're thinking of our nurses and our doctors and stuff like that, right? But no, who are our real, and again, don't hear what I'm not saying, they're totally frontline people, but are we really considering the freaking hospital janitorial staff, the people that work in dietary? Let's go one even better. What about our 911 dispatch operators? If they are not considered frontline responders, who is? How can you not consider them? Why are they not Okay, I understand you're essential. Let's just say, well, make me feel essential. Stagger the schedule so that I can at least have mental health days to come away from being this person to at least mentally break down everything that I have to deal with every day. Not only are you not giving these people enough PPE, because what America has really shown us that's frustrated me, I thought we couldn't afford to feed all our kids. I thought you had to make a certain amount of money to get free lunch. I thought this had to happen. I thought these had to happen. Oh, the country shuts down, and now all of a sudden we feeding kids 3 times a day. That you don't even have to go to the school to go get a meal from the school, but we couldn't feed kids before, remember? And it just lets me know that America deals with what it wants to deal with, and what is a priority for America is a priority, and what's not is not, including people of color.
That's right.
Absolutely.
So we, I was one of the people, and I think you guys were too, one of the people who were very vocal about us opening up too soon. But President Trump had refused to really take any authority in whether or not the United States closes down. He left it up to the states. And of course, the governors were under pressure to open up states so that small businesses can continue to make money and so forth and so on. Now, since the increased cases of coronavirus has happened, do you guys think that the U.S. should close again or make it mandatory for everybody to wear a mask in public in order for us to continue on? Erica, you can go first. Which one, in your opinion, do you think we should do? Close again until the curve happens, or wear mask in public, make wearing mask in public mandatory?
Now, I'm a little extreme when it comes to closing down, because to this day, I don't think we shut down. And I'm going to say this. I have a 18-year-old daughter who just graduated high school. She worked at KFC. She still went to work. Is KFC essential? No, it's not. To me, that's not essential. So as long as certain stores and certain things were open and people were free to go about their business, it was never a complete shutdown, so to speak. I think we need a massive, complete shutdown where the nation quarantines itself. We're not going to do that because we have this illusion of freedom and liberties that we don't want to let go of, because we don't want the government telling us that we have to shut down. But yes, we need a complete and total shutdown where it, like Stephanie just spoke about how the government had this all of a sudden money. Well, how about the government allow us to go and get enough supplies that we need so that we could completely shut all the way down? Because if we don't completely shut all the way down, we're not going to get a second wave, because we're continuing to ride this first wave. When everybody like, this second wave of Corona going to be hard. Well, we got to get through the first, because the curve has not flattened. So until then, we're going to continue to see a spike. Masks should be mandatory. Absolutely, it should be mandatory. I have breathing issues, but when I'm out in public, I got my asthma pump and I got my mask. Because I know what I'm up against. And then, like I said, and I got my hand sanitizer. I got little spray bottles of bleach that I'm spraying bleach places as I go and wiping stuff down. And now that's not just for me. That's so that if I'm touching something and my hand has to touch it, whether it's the gas pump, I'm spraying it so that the person that's coming behind me could possibly be safe. But we need a complete, total shutdown. If we don't do that, we're going to continue to see it climb.
Thank you. Stephanie, what do you think? In your opinion, should we make wearing masks in public mandatory, or should we just go ahead and shut down again? Well, even make it a more serious than the last shutdown.
Well, our governor here in Alabama, God bless her heart, has already pretty much let us know that we're screwed, and it's, if y'all don't do it, I'm not gonna make you do it. And to me, I mean, this country was built on, I want what's yours, and you can't tell me I can't have what's yours, or I'll just kill everybody. So we know how America feels about the dollar and its value and the respect that our dollar has from other countries. And please believe that that is what is in the forefront. It is not a disease that kills elderly people. It is not the disease that kills babies. It is not crime. It is, proximity crime, because I don't use the term black on black crime. It's proximity crime. And none of that stuff is important to America. Especially now with our current leadership. Look how many business ventures he has. Look how this has affected his business. So if we are expecting someone who is supposed to lead every person in the nation, but who's clearly shown that his business dealings for himself and those connected to him are a main priority, then it's got to be up to us. At this point, we cannot even rely on our government to protect us. We're not even going to get into the fact that the Constitution was written while we were over there chained together. So we weren't even considered when this document was being drafted. So at this point, it has to be us. We have to do the due diligence to educate our communities. Well, where does that start? We have to get back to where we will let somebody tell us something. Let somebody tell you something. Let somebody teach you how to do something. Where the OGs at? I blame them. Where the elders and the OGs? Because when I was coming up, these young dudes would walk past somebody that they didn't even know that was sitting on the step and automatically get them the utmost respect, because that's OG. But we don't have OGs anymore. You know what I'm saying? Or they're themselves known because they're tired of it. It's got to be, we have to care enough to use our influence for what matters.
Amen. Before I go to the next topic, and thank you for that, I want to say that there was a tragedy that happened in Alabama this weekend. A 8-year-old little kid was shot. His name was Royta Giles Jr., and he was a student in the Bessemer City School System. And I wanted to just take a moment to say my condolences to his family and to the entire situation. So, from essential workers to workers who simply refuse to be essential, let's talk about Miss Rona and how it is affecting Uncle Sam and the workplace. On July 31st, the $600 unemployment payment that was designed to both help workers whose job was impacted by coronavirus and to promote sheltering in place is going to end. But with increases in numbers of coronavirus cases, Some workers are not reporting back to work due to safety concerns, and others are saying, well, I simply make more money at home without even risking my life. Now, I want to ask this question to you, Stephanie. Do you think this is a fair practice for essential workers who, once again, they are risking their lives every day to go to work, and with little to no hazard pay, little to no, as you were saying, mental days to have space to breathe? Is it a fair practice to keep the $600 going for people who are getting unemployment weekly?
So that's what's called a slippery slope, right? Because not everyone that is unemployed got that way because of their fault. It was no fault of their own. And we have to take into consideration that unemployment, I know everybody kind of sees it as free money that's just raining out the sky. But to be honest, the working class people have a benefit adjusted to the amount of taxes that they have paid into that. That's why it's actually called unemployment insurance, because it's supposed to be assurance for if you lose your job. Now, granted, there is a completely other side to that, and people are in fact making more money now than they possibly were when they were working, and that is something that has to be said. But here's the thing, with something like that, you cannot just snatch the rug from under people, if that makes sense. But I do feel like the essential workers should have gotten hazard pay first. I will say that the people that are on the front lines, or if you could have just given it to everybody. Why does it have to be, if it's an extra $600 for the people who are unemployed and have no job, then at least split that in half to be fair, and an extra $300 a week for the people who are still working, because we have to take into consideration that you still have your job. I know it sucks to still have to get out of your bed every day, but there are some people who are actually wishing that they still had a job, that they had somewhere to get up and go to. Because now what is, I'm afraid will happen, and I hope it won't happen, is that, because what I tried it, actually, I'm actually still employed, but I actually have tried just to see my own little personal data, I filled out an application for McDonald's and I want to say T-Mobile or something. Someone said they were hiring, just to see how easy it is to get back into the workforce. Where I can honestly say neither of those people have called me back yet. So the signs are saying now hiring, but they're actually not rapidly bringing people back in because there are still so many measures in place. And I feel that we have to accommodate the people that are still getting up every day, making America work, because that's the irony of this whole thing. The people who have nothing to worry about are the main people saying, we don't need a mask, we don't need this. But who keeps America running? The person that's considered the little person. You can't have your coffee brought to you, Mr. President, in the morning if the maid can't get to work.
That's right.
You can't have those, and we have to remember that you got to take care of the little guy.
That's right. Erica, what are your thoughts?
Well, first off, our economy is a service economy. We're no longer producers. And when you have a service economy and your whole economic system is ran off the fact that people have to buy goods, then you're doomed when the pandemic hits. This goes back to a total shutdown for me, so that the curve could have at least flattened some, simply because I don't care what no one says. Your life should not have to be on the line for $9.50, $10, $11, $15 an hour. When someone could sit at home and make that kind of money, who didn't make that money. A lot of these people, and like Stephanie said, it is a slippery slope. A lot of these people didn't make this kind of money when they were working. They making up to $800-900 a week between federal and state.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't bringing that kind of money home prior to this, so they don't have an incentive to go back. But until, of course, it runs out. A lot of people aren't hiring, as she stated, because I had been applying for jobs for my daughter, and a lot of people, you can apply, but that doesn't mean you're going to get a call back. Then you have people waiting in line. In Alabama, I seen they wait in line at 12 o'clock at night just so they could get their unemployment benefits, because they legitimately lost their jobs. I know a lot of people that lost almost six-figure jobs, income, because of COVID. They had to shut down. They still haven't gotten their unemployment because no one saw this coming. We all know that. wink, wink. No one saw this pandemic coming. So when everything shut down, unemployment isn't staffed to handle all these rushes of cases they now have. And they're working from home, possibly from the state. It's a lot of people that need the unemployment. They're not getting their unemployment because it's not enough people working these cases. So they're not even getting the $600. They're unemployed, don't have a job. It is, as my friend from high school would say, a hot, crappy mess. You know, I was just saying, it's a hot mess. But I definitely think that essential workers, without question, should be getting hazardous pay. Like, if you could think to give $600 to people unemployed, surely these geniuses thought to pay you guys hazardous pay, which also means that at this point, if minimum wage going up isn't on the table on legislation nationally, if nationally they're not talking about increasing the minimum wage, Target just increased their wages. We know Costco increased their wages. We know Amazon increased their wages, which is, to me, even $15 an hour from Amazon is a slap in the face. If across the board, they're not talking about increasing the wages of these essential jobs, then we need to vote out everybody that's in office right now. And that's serious. If they decide to put your life on the line, you don't decide that, Marcus. When you go to work, you didn't decide that you going to work. They deemed that you were essential. You didn't deem yourself essential.
That's
you
right.
should get an increase on hazardous pay, as well as the wages should be going up.
Well, so listen, Democrats in the House are voting to extend this $600 benefit until January of 2021, while Republicans are just considering a $450 back to work benefit plan, but they are not in favor of extending this $600 until January of 2021. With the increase in COVID cases, what do you think, Stephanie, would be the best route? You think that people should go back to work and we give this $450 back to work bonus, or we should just keep things like it is and extend this $600 benefit until next year?
Again, I think we have to find a healthy compromise in the middle, because what people don't seem to be understanding, like here in Alabama, you can actually drive around off 31st Street. Is known for to be the industrial district here, and some of those plants have actually closed down, and there are for lease signs on these buildings. So some people did reduce their staff because of COVID, but there are actual businesses who have dissolved from this disease. So let's just say you give me $450, which is an absurd, that's nothing about that screams incentive to me. But if you give me $450 to return to work, what does that look like for someone who is certified to do all these things from, let's say, a plant or something? You have all these certifications for a plant that is now open. So do I take the incentive and take a job that paid way less than what I was making? So it's like darned if you do, darned if you don't. If I continue with the $600 to possibly put me in a position to create generational wealth, if I use that money wisely, then it could put me in a better position for my family. Or do I allow that rug to be completely snatched under me? Because now what they're going to have to think about is, what you don't want to do is make it to where millions of people are out of work at the same time. You think The Purge was a movie?
Yes, right. Erica, what about you? What are your thoughts?
I agree with it. And that was my initial note on that. You're going to pay people $450 to go back to work, but there's no work to go back to.
No work to go back to.
Because think about it. If states have opened back up, all those people that's on unemployment, for the most part, a lot of them, their jobs open back up. Within Macy's open back up, Dillard's open back up, Belk open back up. A lot of these retail industries, they've opened back up. And those were a lot of people that were getting some of the unemployment benefits. A lot of these people don't have a job to go back to. Tier 1, a retail industry, they were already shutting down businesses, but now they've gone out of business altogether. So you could open back up, but the ball was dropped. The ball was dropped so hard till it's going to be a lot of people now facing real life unemployment, not COVID unemployment. They're facing real life unemployment now that it's open back up. So yeah, they could open back up and they could offer these bonuses. And like Stephanie said, the long term of it is, okay, we're cool now because a lot of us are at home, our kids are at home. What's gonna happen when you want to pay me this money to go back to work, but when my child starts school, school's not opening back up? I mean, the state of Florida, they're allowing in classroom, but in my area, they're not trying to go back to a full day of class like it once was. So what it's going to look like for those single parents who have to choose between going to work, who's going to watch my kids? A lot of daycares aren't going to open back up. So the long haul of it is, it's $450 worth you jeopardizing your life. And sometimes you got to put a price tag on your life, and it's sad. I was at the grocery store. This woman told me, checking me out, that she doesn't have a spleen. So she said if she gets it, she's dead. And I looked at her and I said, wow, your life is worth $13.50 an hour. And she looked at me and she just paused, but it was the truth. Her life is worth $13.50 an hour, because that's what that grocery store pays starting off.
Wow. Man, we'll talk about putting a price tag on your life. The death of George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, and Rayshard Brooks has caused many cases to reopen, cases where unarmed Black people are killed by police. One such case is the case of 23-year-old Elijah McClain, who was stopped by Colorado police after he left a convenience store for getting his brother a tea. The officer said that Elijah looked, quote unquote, suspicious. And within 15 minutes, Elijah was placed in a chokehold and injected with ketamine, which is a very powerful sedative. He entered into a hospital, and 3 days later, he was pronounced brain dead. This happened in August of last year. And the Attorney General of that state said, and I quote, the fact that he died doesn't warrant the basis for criminal charges against the officers. Whew. Erica, when you saw this video, what were your thoughts?
Okay, I'm gonna be honest. I didn't watch the video for my mental health. I choose not to expose myself to the trauma porn of watching Black men die, or Black people for that matter. But I know all about the case. I want to first say to all my Black listeners, at all times, we need to realize we're suspicious. Meaning, if you know the laws, you know that as long as you fit the description of an active crime or even a non-active crime, the police have the right to stop you and question you. How many reports right now are there out there in Birmingham, Alabama, that fit the description of you, Marcus Cook? A Black man with a beard and a mustache. That's you. That's just about every Black man I know in the Birmingham, Jefferson County area. Fits the description of some crime that's been committed. So with that being said, we need to realize when we're moving about this nation, we always fit the description of a criminal, so they could always tell us we look suspicious, because it's always a crime that's being committed by someone that looks like you and I, that makes all of us look suspicious. Now, with that being said, I can't wrap my mind around years ago. Was it 2012, between 2009 and 12, where a white man could go in Aurora. And I was just out in training in Denver last year. I didn't leave my hotel room at all, because I'm iffy about predominantly white areas such as Colorado. Yeah, they're liberal, but they're still predominantly white. But a white man could go in a movie theater in the same city and shoot up a movie theater, and right now he's sitting in jail. He didn't fit the description of a crime being committed because they picked him up from committing the crime, right? So it wasn't you look suspicious. You are suspicious because you had the gun in your hand, right?
Right.
But yet and still, you walked by a man and you knew he didn't have a gun, because I listened to it, the 911 part of it. They asked him if he had a gun, and he said no, he had a face mask, and it was it, right?
Yeah.
So how do you pick up a young Black man with no weapon. When you had him on that ground, you had to pat him down. You found nothing. But yet you thought to kill him, to murder him. And you could let someone walk in a movie theater. And you're saying this is the same police force. We could easily look at a tape in Massachusetts, in Boston, and look at a tape in California and say cops know what the debate could be where they had different training. I'm using these two incidents to say that this is the same exact department. It's not two separate departments. Same police force, same exact training.
Yeah.
So tell me, how could that be? That's a rhetorical question. But we're all gonna look suspicious in their eyes. And we need to realize that as Black people, we're gonna always look suspicious to them.
Amen. Stephanie, when you saw the video of Elijah McClain, what did you think?
To be quite honest, as someone with an Afro-Native husband and an Afro-Native son, it just pretty much lets me know that it really doesn't matter. Even if you are polite and follow all the rules, you are still not guaranteed to make it home as a Black person in America. And that's disheartening, because at first the defense was, if y'all would just follow the rules, we wouldn't have these problems. This young brother was apologizing for the aggressiveness that did not even exist in his voice. He was apologizing even almost for his existence, and still, ended up, facing his demise. And it's so heavy. And I love that. I'm actually going to repost that later, Erica. Like, you have to get to a place where you refuse to subject yourself, because it is, oh my gosh, trauma porn. It is people who they watch this, and I get frustrated because we thought, like, maybe they really don't get it, right? Maybe and again, this is not encompassing. It's not all European people, it's not all Caucasian people, because it's not everybody. But just like they group us in a group, when one of us does something, it reflects on us. For the sake of example, let's do that. So for white people, let's say we were like, okay, well, maybe they just don't get it. So we have all these intellectual, because it's so funny, because we downplay ourselves sometimes because we've been so used to being oppressed, but we are a very intelligent, very powerful people. And we have to, that is where their terror comes in. See, our rage, like, let's just get to the root of it. So our rage that they swear that we have and we possess, it comes from the frustration of having to deal with realizing who you are in an oppressive situation. That's where our rage comes from. Their terror of us that turns into this whole anarchy situation is because they don't understand who we are. Because there's never been a reason to understand this brother. Those police officers had no reason to even think twice, because I bet you one of those officers had somebody who was on the spectrum of autism in their immediate family, yet nothing in their brain made them have to take a second to say, hold on, this ain't that.
Right. And that was one of the things that got me in the video, is that he's explaining, like, I'm just different.
Right.
When they say, he just reached for your gun, he was like, no, I don't do those type of things. I'm not going to reach for your gun.
Right.
That really touched me, and I'm like kind of getting teary-eyed now, because even just watching it was too much for me, because this young man, like you said, Stephanie, was even just apologizing for his very existence. Like, I'm sorry. That leads me to my last question with this. Like, what steps do we have to take to educate either our police officers so that it won't be a continued cycle of death for Black people, especially unarmed Black people who are just doing everyday occurrences, like walking home from a store? What needs to happen, Stephanie, to kind of bring awareness to this and make it stop?
What Erica is out there in the front lines trying to get people to do, freaking vote. Don't just wait until it's a big election to vote. We need people in leadership that look like us, so that they can make rules that affect us. We can't depend on the president to save the nation. That was something that I noticed. Everybody thought President Obama, or former President Obama, was going to be an end all be all, that he was going to be the savior for all the Black people. No, that is ludicrous to assume that he can do that. He cannot do that. You know who can do that? The judges, the Senate, the people in office on the local level who need to. What point is it to vote for this person if down here in rural Alabama, there are hardly any judges that look like us? So you know what happens when our judges don't look like us? They rule in favor of the people who don't look like us.
Right. That's right.
A jury of your peers is just, I'm like, they must just be going by human, because I don't hang out with any of these people that look like this. Whose peers? These not my peers. So it's systematic. Like that blue line, baby, it goes back way further than we even can attempt to understand. So, and that is why I get so frustrated. I'm in awe of everybody being like, hey, we'll hang black curtains and we'll add fried chicken to our menu. And for so long, we have been okay with cosmetic changes, but it is not the cosmetic changes that are going to work. We need systemic changes. Stop letting them throw us a dance and a song. You know how much $1,200 was? They sold us for $1,200. Did they just buy us again for $1,200?
I made a post. I don't get I get a lot of flack sometimes because I see the bigger picture and I don't think with my emotions. And Stephanie, I kept creating a nonprofit organization, and when we were coming up with the slogan, and I'm gonna show you. I don't even know if you could. You can't see it. The slogan is "We are what we have been waiting for." And when I came up with that, "We are what we have been waiting for," I came up with that because I'm tired of the Black community looking for a savior. We don't need a savior. We are literally all of us. We're what we're waiting for. It's in us. When I was getting my degree in criminal justice, I decided not to go in the field while I was getting that degree because I did not want to work amongst those people. Every time I had to give a presentation, I gave a history lesson.
Hey.
Because I was sitting in class with these white cops, and everything they said was disgusting. And it was, well, why do y'all fear us? Well, let me give you a history lesson in this presentation I'm about to do about the slave patrol. Let me tell you how. And like when you say at the root, I tell people, and when I talk to my kids, I tell them we're going to get to the root cause. When you have a toothache, that dentist tells you, I'm going to remove the roots because your roots, that's what's giving you this ache in your tooth. So let me remove these roots from your gums so that you can no longer have this ache. And in the Black community, we need to remove all of our roots, find out why everything is the way that it is. First off, they know how we are because they created us. They created these conditions we're in. They created poverty. Everything we go through in the United States of America is due to white supremacy. I don't use the term Black on Black crime like you, Stephanie, because it doesn't exist. But if there is a term called Black on Black crime, it's a symptom of white supremacy. Poverty is a symptom of white supremacy. Police brutality is a symptom of white supremacy. We were never in this country in police brutality. You know why? Because we won't. FBI did put out some stats a few years ago stating that the bulk of the investigations they did, they found that KKK had infiltrated the police forces around this country. And I laugh because I'm like, no, they didn't. They never infiltrated. They created it. You can't infiltrate what you created. I tell people, just sit back. I'm not a genius. I'm not a rocket science. I don't even consider myself to be that smart. But if I could come up with some of the solutions to some of the problems we have in this country, surely other people that are deem themselves intellectually can. We need to vote locally as much as possible until you work your way up nationally, simply because if these laws on these books, first of all, our politicians are always for sale. And I tell people that. That's why I tell people go vote. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart, go vote. But learn how and why to vote. When your politician is for sale, that means I'm voting these people in office, but the lobbyists are gonna get what they want from the deal. We walk away every year from national voting because we vote for the people that the lobbyists are going to buy, and they're going to walk away with what they want. We walk away with nothing on a national level because we put our money behind things that don't have power. Louis Vuitton has no power. Chanel has no power. Walking down the street with this on doesn't mean power. But when you put your money behind your policies, you can get what you want. So guess what that means? That means that little Tayshaun doesn't have a felony for things that little Dylan does. And that means Tayshaun could possibly grow up to be a police officer in his local community. Because when you get a felony, it's a lot of stuff you can't do, and that's like be law enforcement. Therefore, they got to pull someone in Vestavia or someone that don't live in Bessemer or Birmingham and in these areas to police because they can't staff it with the people locally, and they don't know you, and you don't look like them, so they fear you and they're gonna gun you down. It's a whole routine of this system that we got to get, and it's starting, like you said, we got to vote locally so that we could change these laws and we could get some people in the community. Hey, Marcus, I was just telling someone, I had a board meeting earlier today, and I was telling them that growing up in Bessemer in the 90s, we didn't have a lot of the young men that went to high school with us turn into crime because they worked at Food Giant. They worked at Food World. They worked at Frank's, right?
That's right. That's right.
Then you got where Publix came in, and now everybody want to shop at Publix. Walmart Supercenter came. Everybody's shopping at Walmart Supercenter, and now there's no Food Giant. Now these little mom and pop grocery stores are no longer there. So the little boys in the community no longer have those little jobs that they once had, and they were there Saturday morning, Sunday morning working. And when you don't supply your community with a legal income, they're gonna find illegal acts.
That's right.
So with that being said, that's the local politicians that allow those other companies to come in that don't employ the people that live locally.
That's right. That's right. So you guys, thank you guys so much for your opinions and your views. I appreciate that. I want to play a game with you guys. So I call this game Who Done It, and this is the invention edition. Now, during the pandemic, a lot of people, to make money, to make ends meet, they start inventing things. And so I'm going to read off an invention, a scenario invention. Each person guesses whether the person who made this was black, white, or other. And at the end of the game, the person with the most points wins. Okay? All right.
Okay.
First scenario. Man invents gloves for hearing impaired to communicate with words via sign language while using the gloves. Is this person black, white, or other? Erica.
Ooh, woo child. And I even read that. I want to say it was a black female that did that, but I think it was a black person because I read the article a while back in May.
Stephanie, black, white, or other? I can't hear you.
I want to say that was us. That sounds like something we'll come up. You know, we'll come up with easier ways to do something. I think that was us.
All right. So that person was black. 25-year-old Roy Allah invented the Sanyo gloves due to challenges of communicating with his hearing impaired niece.
See what I'm saying? He ain't have time for all that. We got to come up with something else.
91-year-old woman invents disposable boots to protect shoes from getting wet. Erica, black, white, or other?
That's other, because that's other.
Stephanie, black, white, or other?
I say white.
That person was white. Nancy Pettibone invented disposables after hiring a chemist because she remembered when she was in the workforce how she hated getting her boots wet when she worked in the snow. All right. Next one. A woman invents first computer science educated doll. Erica, black, white, or other?
Other.
Stephanie, black, white, or other?
Other.
This person was actually black. Bacola Samadi invented this doll to bring awareness to computer science to young girls who are disenfranchised. The doll name is Somi. All right, black, white, well, who done it? A man invents social distancing shoes. Erica, black, white, or other?
I'm gonna go with black.
Stephanie, black, white, or other?
Social distancing shoes.
That's
I am
right.
not sure that's some black people even think about. So I'm gonna say white.
Well, he was white. Shoemaker Gregor of Romania makes shoes with 11 inches of square feet
See
in
what
the
I'm saying?
toe.
See what I'm
In the
saying?
toe.
What?
Now, those shoes cost $415. I'm sorry, $115.
That's not bad.
It's
That's
cheaper to
not
just
bad.
scoot the heck over though.
Last question. Man invents shoes that grow to prevent bare feet kids. Black, white, or other, Erica?
That's black.
That's black. Stephanie, black, white, or other?
I think that's us. That's black.
That's
Well,
black.
he's actually white. But Kenton Lee of Nairobi, Kenya, he lives in Kenya, invented an adjustable sandal that kids can adjust as they grow, so they won't have to buy shoes anymore.
That's what's
so
up.
good.
That's
Isn't that
what's up.
amazing?
That's
Listen,
what's up.
Wait, so he's white, but he lives in Africa, so he probably made that for the African kids. So
Technically.
well, so
Because I knew there
listen.
was somebody from Africa when it was shoes.
that
That's
sounds like
right.
a black person though. I ain't got time to keep buying these shoes, baby. You gotta do something.
Oh, God. So, look, congratulations to Lady B, who's the official first winner of Who Done It.
Thank
y'all.
Congratulations.
Stephanie and Erica, man, I enjoyed our time together. Thank you guys so much for your presence. Tea Timers, I enjoyed you guys as always. Remember to like, subscribe, and share. Comment. Please let us know how we're doing. Let us know something that you want to see. And always come back so you can find out what's the tea for real. See y'all next time.
Yo, can't will. And I had some concerns, and I thought, what better time than to address them than right now? So here we go. Yo. Hey, check me out. Hey. Let's have a conversation about the world and the way things are now. Come chop it up with me. But just let's take it. About terrorism and World War III. Yo. The who, what, when, where,